Welcome back to Mainstream Current, y'all. Or, if you're brand new, I'm Drew Hoagland, and I'm hoping that by the end of this video, I will have earned your like and subscription, possibly even sharing with your friends. Today, I am wearing, once again, Awaken with JP merchandise. Freedom is my love language. I love that channel. I love the creator, Jake Sears. And JP Sears, I'm sorry. And I bought 2 of his shirts, so I decided to wear the second one. Today we're going to be talking about District 1. No, I'm not talking about the Hunger Games. Although, am I alone in feeling like fiction is becoming more and more reality? Moving on. In the last video, we talked about District 2. I started with District 2 because it's getting more notoriety and it's a more heated debate between Jared Golden and Austin Terrio. I'll have a link for that down below, or you can go back in my videos and check out the one right before this one. So today we're going to be talking about District 1, and that is the race between Shelly Pingree and Ron Russell. Chellie Pingree has okay, I'm just going to get right into it. Shelly Pingree is a Democrat-Republican politician serving as the U.S. representative for Maine's 1st congressional district since 2009. Also note that she's never lost. Anytime she's run, she's won. Here are some key points about her. Early life and education. Born on April 2nd. I'm an April 1st baby. That is not a joke. I literally am born on April 1st. Born on April 2nd, 1955, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Pingree moved to Maine during her teenage years. She attended the College of the Atlantic in Bar Harbor, Maine, where she earned a degree in human ecology. State political career. Pingree began her political journey in Maine State Senate, serving from 1992 to 2000. She became the Senate Majority Leader from 1996 to 2000, the first woman to hold that position in Maine. National political career. In 2008, Pingree was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. She has been re-elected in subsequent terms and serves on the House Appropriations Committee, which oversees federal spending. Policy focus. Agriculture and food. Pingree is a strong advocate. Some local teenagers. Pingree is a strong advocate for sustainable agriculture and local food systems. She has introduced legislation to support small farmers and organic farming practices. Environment. What is up with my speech? She supports measures to combat climate change and protect natural resources, emphasizing renewable energy initiatives. Healthcare. Pingree is a proponent of affordable healthcare and has supported efforts to expand access to medical services. Veterans Affairs. She works on legislation aimed at improving services and support for military veterans. Business ventures. Before her national political career, Pingree owned and operated a small farm and started a knitting business called North Island Designs, which provided jobs in her community, which I didn't know about beforehand, but I find that applaudable. Personal life. She has 3 children, one of whom, Hannah Pingree, is also involved in politics and serves as Speaker of the Maine House of Representatives. It was easier to find, so that's Shelly Pingree. I am going to get more into her in a moment. There was more information that I could find on her compared to Ron Russell. I did compile information from his website, so I was able to get an understanding of him, but I was able to find more on Shelly Pingree. So before I dig more into her past, I'm going to talk about Ronald Russell. Ronald Russell is a Republican candidate running for U.S. Congress from Maine. He brings a wealth of experience from his military career and business ventures, aiming to address key issues affecting Mainers and Americans at large. Early life and background. Family and upbringing. Raised on a potato farm in Maine, Russell learned the values of family, faith, and hard work from an early age. Military family. His father was a decorated World War II veteran. which inspired Russell and his brother to pursue military careers. Education. Accepted into the United States Military Academy at West Point, he graduated in 1976 and was commissioned as second lieutenant in the infantry. Dang it, I might have to pause. Okay, the teens are gone. So he became second lieutenant in the infantry. Military career. Service duration. Served over 30 years in the U.S. Army, retiring in 2006. He specialized as an airborne ranger and Special Forces qualified Green Beret. Leadership. He held positions in some of the most prestigious units in the Army, gaining extensive leadership experience. Business career. He's an entrepreneur. After military requirement, he worked for a small defense contractor before co-founding his own company. Business growth. Successfully grew the business to over 150 employees over 14 years, demonstrating strong business acumen. Return to Maine and political ambitions. Motivation. He moved back to Maine in 2021 with a desire to address the nation's challenges and serve his home state. Congressional run. He aims to contribute to getting the country back on track through legislative work. Policy positions. Divisive political discourse. Advocates for unity emphasize that before political affirmations, everyone is American. Calls for politicians to prioritize the people's needs over partisan victories. So these are his political positions. He advocates for unity, emphasizing that before political affiliations, everyone is American. Calls for politicians to prioritize the people's needs over partisan victories. Immigration. He wants border security, criticizes current policies for leading to an immigration crisis, stresses the importance of securing borders to protect national security and manage resources. Legal immigration. He supports legal immigration and believes in properly vetting and assimilating new citizens into American society. Amnesty reform. Calls for improvements in the amnesty system to ensure valid claims are honored and background checks are thorough. Taxes. Tax reduction. Believes taxes are too high and advocates for lowering them to stimulate economic growth. Economic empowerment. Argues that lower taxes will lead to job creation and allow families to invest in their futures. Energy and the economy. Energy independence. Emphasizes the need for the U.S. to become energy independent to lower the cost of living and reduce inflation. Support for renewables. Encourage the use of renewable energy sources like wind, hydropower, solar, and nuclear where cost effective. Consumer choice. Opposes mandates that limit energy choices for consumer, advocating for balanced approach. Gun rights. Supports Second Amendment support. Strong proponent to the right to keep and bear arms. Mental health focus. Supports improving background check systems to include relevant mental health records while protecting civil rights. Opposition to overregulation. Opposes burdensome gun control regulations on law-abiding citizens. Criminals don't obey the law anyway. So, law-abiding citizens should be the ones looked after. Election integrity. Restoring trust. Stresses the importance of Americans having faith in the electoral system. Reforms. Supports common sense measures like voter ID laws to ensure secure and fair elections. Education. Improving standards. Believes that American schools are underperforming and advocates for a focus on core subjects like math, science, history, and English. Parental involvement. Encourages active parental involvement in education decisions. Reforms and choice. Supports assessing educational methods and embracing school choice to improve outcomes. Reducing crime and supporting firearm responders. Law and order. Calls for restoring law and order by ensuring violent criminals serve their sentences. Supporting law enforcement. advocates for providing resources and support to law enforcement and first responders. Against defunding, opposes movements to defund the police, emphasizing the need for well-trained and adequately compensated officers. And then lastly, in his personal and family life, family of service. Comes from a family dedicated to public service with siblings involved in the military, education, and healthcare. Community commitment. Deeply connected to Maine and committed to addressing the issues facing his community and country. So right off the cuff, I don't know as much about Ron Russell as I do about Shelly Pingree, and I'll work on getting more information and trying to figure out more about him in future videos. And I'll probably do a further deep dive on Chellie Pingree. In this, I do give an overview of her life, but I'm not going to go into her track record quite like I did Angus King in this video, but that will be coming. So right off the bat, I have more in common with Ron Russell than I do with Shelly Pingree. I deeply respect the fact that Shelly Pingree is a business owner and was able to get jobs to the community. I think that people that own businesses are more likely to do better in politics, especially in certain regards, managing leaders, managing money, managing people, and other reasons. So I do appreciate that about her. But I don't like the things that have happened while she's been in control. And Ron Russell offers a fresh view. And like I said, I have more in common with him. I deeply, deeply respect the military, veterans and current soldiers. And I also come from a family of service where many of my family members are teachers or healthcare providers or in the military. So I respect that highly. And at this point, the Democrats are a trifecta in the state of Maine: House, Republic, Governor, Representatives. House of Representatives, the Senate, and Governor are all democratically held with a higher percentage. So we need change. We cannot keep going down the path we're going. So off the cuff, unless I find out something detrimental about Russell, he's going to be my choice. But that's just my own opinion, and you don't have to agree with it, but that's just where I'm coming from. So before I wrap up the video, like I said, I wanted to just talk a little bit about the life and career of Shelly Pingree. So from rural roots to progressive leadership. An introduction. Shelly Pingree is a Democrat politician who has served as the U.S. representative for Maine's 1st congressional district since 2009. Her journey from a rural upbringing to prominent role in national politics is marked by deep commitment to community, sustainable practices, and progressive values. Pingree's, so childhood and early life. Born as Rochelle Marie Pingree on April 2nd, 1955 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Shelly Pingree moved to Maine during her teenage years. Settling on the island of North Haven in Penobscot Bay, she was immersed in a close-knit community that valued self-reliance and collaboration. The rural setting and the challenges of island life fostered her appreciation for community engagement and environmental stewardship. Pingree attended the College of the Atlantic in Bar Harbor, graduating in 1979. Also, why are so many of our politicians so old? Like, I'm not going to age shame anyone, but, I mean, how much can people from their generation understand my millennial generation and the generation younger? Like, that is one complaint I have against both of them. I mean, I'm glad that they're willing to serve the public, but come on. She graduated in 1979 with a degree in human ecology. The interdisciplinary field combines environmental studies with social sciences, emphasizing the relationship between humans and their natural, social, and built environments. Her education instilled in her lifelong commitment to sustainability and holistic problem solving. path to political career. After college, Pingree returned to North Haven, where she started a small farm and later founded North Island Yarn, a cottage industry knitting business. Her entrepreneurial efforts not only provided jobs in the community, but also reinforced the importance of supporting local economies and sustainable practices. Pingree's involvement in her community led her to serve the local school board from 1981 to 1987. This experience highlighted the impact of policy decisions on education and spurred her interest in broader public service. Recognizing the need for responsive and effective leadership, she decided to run for the Maine State Senate. In 1992, Pingree was elected to the Maine State Senate, representing Knox County. During her 8-year tenure, she became the Senate Majority Leader from 1996 to 2000, making history as the first woman to hold that position in Maine. Her legislative focus included healthcare reform, environmental protection, and campaign finance reform. She was instrumental in passing the Maine RX program to lower prescription drug costs and champion the Maine Clean Elections Act, promoting publicly funded elections to reduce the influence of private money in politics. And I'm going to dig more into fact check that. Of course, I'm going to try and unbiasedly give you information to both Russell and Pingree. Doesn't mean I can't add comments on the side, but I do want to have an unbiased look and try to present that to you guys as unbiasedly as possible, while you're aware of where my biases might come from based on other videos. After an unsuccessful bid for the U.S. Senate in 2002, Pingree continued her advocacy work as the president and CEO of Common Cause, a nonpartisan organization dedicated to government accountability and the strengthening of democracy. Transition to national politics. In 2008, Pingree ran for and won the seat of Maine's 1st congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives. Her victory marked the beginning of a new chapter in her public service career, allowing her to bring her progressive vision to the national stage. Since then, she has been re-elected in every subsequent election, demonstrating strong support from her constituents. Or possibly not somebody better to vote against, or somebody better to vote for, rather. Legislative focus and voting record. As a member of Congress, Shelly Pingree has been a constant advocate for progressive policies. She serves on the House Appropriations Committee, which plays a crucial role in determining federal spending, and is a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Number 1. Healthcare. Pingree has been a strong proponent of accessible and affordable healthcare. She supported the Affordable Care Act and has worked to protect it from repeal efforts. Pingree has voted for legislation aimed at expanding healthcare coverage, lowering prescription drug prices, and strengthening women's health services, including reproductive rights. Environmental protection and sustainable agriculture. With her background in human ecology, environmental issues are central to Pingree's work. She has voted in favor of legislation to combat climate change, reduce green gas emissions, and invest in renewable energy sources. Pingree has introduced bills to support sustainable agriculture, such as the Local Farms, Food and Jobs Act, which aims to bolster local food systems and support small farmers. I'm going to do a lot of fact-checking on Chellie Pingree. There's not as much that I can fact-check on Ron Russell, as he doesn't have any policies, he doesn't have a voting history yet, so I can't go back and look as deeply into that. But some of these things, local farms, support local farms and local businesses 100%. So I love that about her. But I do want to see how well these hold up. Economic policies. Pingree advocates for economic policies that benefit working families. She has supported raising the federal minimum wage, expanding unemployment insurance, and providing tax relief for the middle class. Her votes reflect a commitment to reducing income inequality and supporting small businesses. That just sounds hypocritical. I mean, you do one, the other suffers. You can't have all of what she's trying to do there. Education. Recognizing the importance of education, Pingree has voted for increased funding for public schools and measures to make higher education more affordable. She supports initiatives to reduce student loan debt and expand access to early childhood education. Don't. I have 2 degrees, a bachelor's, and an associate's. Doesn't do me much of any good. If I was a high schooler right now, again, I would go into vocation. Go into trades. Learn how to work with your hands. If any young kids are listening to this or anyone contemplating going back to school, don't. Go and get into a trade. Go and get into a trade, learn how to work with your hands, learn how to do some hard laborious work. It'll benefit you. Okay, so yeah, my rant, college is not really worth it. Not anymore. Women's rights and gender equality. As a longtime advocate for women's rights, Pingree has consistently voted to protect and advance gender equality. She supports legislations like the Payback Fairness Act to address wage disparities and has been a vocal supporter of the Violence Against Women Act. Yeah, I'm going to have to do a whole nother video on Shelly, on Pingree. LGBTQ rights. Let's hear this. And mind you, I'm a gay man, so I'm interested. But doubtful. Pingree is a supporter of LGBTQ rights and has voted in favor of legislation to prohibit discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. She backed the Equality Act, which seeks to extend civil rights protection to LGBTQ individuals. Which sounds all right on the surface, but does that include children? Does that include some of these heinous, gender-affirming care propositions and bills that have been pushed that take the rights away from parents and put them in the school board's hands? Do not mix up with the children. Like, LGBTQ rights as a grown adult is one thing. But we need to be very careful which kind of rights we support for children. Number 7, Veterans Affairs. With Maine having a significant veteran population, Pingree has voted to ensure veterans receive the benefits and services they deserve. She has voted for bills that improve healthcare access, education, and job training for veterans. She's been doing this for since 2009. That's many years. And I work heavily around veterans and people still serving in the National Guard and whatnot. They're not feeling it. So her efforts there, I'm going to call her out. They're not working. And we need to step up our game there. We're only free because of the brave. And we need to take care of those men and women that were brave. We need to take care of them. Number 8, campaign finance reform. Continuing her efforts from state level, Pingree remains committed to reducing the influence of money in politics. She supports overturning the Citizens United decision and has introduced legislation to increase transparency in political spending. The fact that she supports overturning Citizens United is incredible. That is something we'll get into in her further video, but Citizens United has damned us as a country, and we need it gone. Immigration. Pingree has advocated for comprehensive immigration reform. She supports policies that provide a pathway for citizenship for undocumented immigrants, protect dreamers under the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals (DACA) program, and reform the immigration system to be more humane and efficient. Those were kind of virtue signaling words that were vague and make me uncomfortable. And in the District 1 is where we're having a lot of immigration issues go national. It's down there in Brunswick where the 2 years of free migrant housing, brand new condos, that's where that's happening. And it's not pretty. Gun control. While respecting the Second Amendment, Pingree has voted for common sense gun control measures. She supports background checks for all firearm sales and has backed legislation to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazine to reduce gun violence. Naive. Criminals don't obey the law. They don't care. They will get those. All you're doing is harming law-abiding citizens that use their Second Amendment privilege, Second Amendment right, properly. So don't screw over the law-abiding citizens. So in conclusion, Shelly Pingree's journey from a small island community to the halls of Congress reflects her deep-rooted commitment to public service and progressive values. Her childhood experience in rural Maine, combined with her education and early community involvement, laid the foundation for a political career focused on sustainability, equality, and social justice. Throughout her time in Congress, Pingree has maintained a voting record that aligns with her constituents' needs and her vision for a fairer and more prosperous America. Her dedication continues to make a significant impact on both her district and the nation. She sure is making an impact, but is it a good one? Let me know what you think down below about Chellie Pingree. Do you know her personally? Do you live in her district? Did you vote for her in the past? Let me know what you think about her, and I am going to do a further deep dive on her, so wait for that. I promise to make these videos shorter. I promise to try to make these videos shorter, but again, the information can only be compacted so much before it's down to a 60-second soundbite that really offers up nothing. I want to be fair in the assessment, and I want to get the information out there, and sometimes that means longer videos. Hopefully, you have stuck around since, and if you have, go ahead and leave a mountain symbol. I did that in one of my last videos, and I actually didn't put the mountain symbol there. Hopefully I remember this time. And also let me know what you think about Ron Russell. Do you know him personally? Would you vote for him? Who are you going to be voting for in November in District 1 if you're in District 1? Or if you're not, just what do you think, whose values do you think more align with people in general, whether they're from Maine or not? Because we're all feeling these issues. So go ahead and leave comments down below. I appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully you stuck around this long. And if you did, I hope I've earned your subscription and your like. And maybe you'll even share this with someone, so that way we can get more news on who we're voting for and get some more light and shine that on the individuals that are running our country. Because politicians need transparency. So if you believe that politicians should be more transparent, go ahead and share this video. Until next time, y'all, thanks for sticking around. This has been Mainstream Current.